Hello everyone, and welcome to this video only presentation for the March Halloween and Holiday Addicts Anonymous class. Video only because I'm going to be gone most of the month of March and I didn't want to make you wait, and so this will release on the regular day that haha releases, and I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be quick and easy, and something for St. Patrick's Day, because I didn't want to take up too much of your time and make you watch a lesson without me there. I didn't want you to have fun without me. So anyway, what I'm going to show you first is some of the stuff that I used on this one. I picked up these Valentine craft hearts at Hobby Lobby. I was so excited to do this project, I ripped into them already. But anyway, you get 12 hearts, 6 large ones, 6 small ones, and we are going to use one of each. And if you can't find these, you can adjust the pattern to fit a large and a small heart. If you want to enlarge it up and make it a door hanger, that's fine too. Anyway, so I got those. That's what we're going to use. We're also going to be using these little adhesive gems. All this stuff came from Hobby Lobby. Okay, and you can see I kind of played a little bit already until I found a design I liked. And then also I bought this book of scrapbook paper. It's called Floral Farmhouse. I bought it because it has a lot of greens in it. So I went through and picked out a green that I liked, and that's what I decided to work on. But I love these little books because you don't have to buy a bunch of sheets of scrapbook paper. Especially me, I don't use it. Well, I do use scrapbook paper quite a bit, but not large sheets. So these are just perfect for me. Anyway, you should probably wonder what this is going to look like. And so I made this. It's a pin. A pin, not a pen. It's a pin to pinch proof yourself for St. Patrick's Day. And so that's what we're going to be working on today. Some other tools that you're going to need are going to be a pair of scissors. I like to use an old key card, plastic gift card, to help when I decoupage the scrapbook paper on the large heart. You're going to want a big pin back. You can probably get those at Hobby Lobby too. Piece of Punchinello. If you painted with me for any length of time, you probably have some of this in your stash. And then also you want to print out the lettering, because we are going to decoupage the lettering in place unless you have really fancy handwriting and you want to do it that way. But this is in your e-packet, so you just print out that page twice and then you can cut it out. Anyway, so let's get started on this thing. I'm going to stick this stuff out of the way. We only use, I think, 6 colors. And I'm going to work on the large heart first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as you can see, I already used this for my prototype. I'm going to put this heart on this paper and I'm going to trace around it so I can cut it out. And then I'm going to decoupage this scrapbook paper to this large heart. So these are my craft scissors. They aren't for cutting fabric. If you tried to cut fabric with them, you wouldn't get very far. I'm lucky if they cut wrapping paper, actually, because I've used them to cut so many things that shouldn't be cut with a pair of scissors. But oh well, we all do it, right? Unless you're a quilter, then you don't do that with your quilting scissors. Anyway, so I'm just going to cut this out. Also, you're also going to need some decoupage medium. I prefer DecoArt decoupage medium in the matte, and so Here we go. And again, if you know me, you know that I use a lot of decoupage medium. So I put mine into this canister so I have a bigger mouth I can dip into. Now when I'm decoupaging tissue paper, which is mostly what I do, I don't put decoupage on the tissue. But stiffer scrapbook papers, you're going to want to put decoupage medium on the heart and also on the back of the paper, just to make sure it adheres. All right, so I can put this away for a little while. We will use it again later, but for now that's all we need. So I am going to put this in place on my heart, and it is a little bit bigger than the heart, but that's okay. And this is where I'm going to use that key card. I want to push this down, get all the bubbles out, get all the wrinkles. I can't do this like this with tissue paper because it'll just rip it, but with scrapbook paper, cardstock, you can get it that way. So, and if you want to be more particular about like if your scrapbook paper has lines on it like this, I didn't really care because this heart's going to go on top of it, so it'll be okay. So I have got this adhered down really good. So I am going to set it to the side for right now, and I'm going to get out some bleached sand, and we're going to give the smaller heart a coat of bleached sand. So I'm going to wash that decoupage medium out of my big old brush and dry it. And let's see. Let's give this guy a coat of bleach sand. All right. In the meantime, you want to get your pattern ready. I gave you the pattern for the hearts, the sizes that I used in your e-packet in case you want to cut your own hearts. Because some of you have your little scroll saws or your laser cutters, so you can easily cut your own heart. So I'm going to dry this real quick. This is going to be quick and easy, and you can crank out 6 of them from that little package of hearts. And these are Valentine craft hearts, so if you might not be able to find them after Valentine's Day is over, but then again you might, you never know. All right, so that's pretty dry. I'm going to get, I always like to sand things so it's a smooth surface for me to paint on. All right, sanded. Let's get our pattern out now. This guy went through a lot of different changes, steps, before I found something I liked. So just ignore that heart right there. It's not going to be in your packet. Okay. All right. So now, of course, the first couple times I put the pattern on, I had my graphite paper upside down. So just keep an eye on that. I also like to use these erasable gel pens to put patterns on, because that way I can tell where I've been, where I need to go. And I'm pressing way too hard, I can tell already. But it'll be okay. So I've got my shamrock. I'm going to put those leaves on the shamrock. And I need to get a little bit longer stem on there. So I'm going to move this over. Oh yeah, way too dark. So don't press too hard on your graphite paper. So I'm going to lighten that up just a little bit with my eraser. All right, that'll be a little better. So what we can do now is, I believe this is probably dry now. So what I'm going to do is take my emery board and I'm going to just remove the excess. I'm going to find the, there we go. Doesn't it make a lovely noise? So if you have excess scrapbook paper, you want to take it off. It's also going to rough up the edge of your heart a little bit, but that's okay. It's perfectly fine. Any kind of interest we can add is welcome. All right. Get that little hook off. Okay. Perfect. So what I want to do now is look at my directions, because I actually did write some. And I'm going to float some very well blended out evergreen onto this heart. The one that's the larger one, the one we put the scrapbook paper on. So you really, really, really want to blend this out well. I'm going to go ahead and use some flow improver to soften that float even a little more. And I'm just going to use my 1/2 inch flat. Use the brushes that you're comfortable painting with. I'm going to use this 1/2 inch flat, and I'm going to make a very soft float of evergreen, and it's just going to go all the way around this edge. Now the paper's going to grab it and you might panic, but it'll be okay. Trust me, it'll be just fine. But that's especially why you want to make sure that float is very well blended out. If you think you've blended it out enough, you want to go ahead and blend it out again, just to be safe. This little back heart guy gets done relatively quickly. Well, the whole thing does, if I'm having a good day painting. We never know till I get going. All right, almost there. Right, I really like this background paper. It's not so St. Patrick in your face kind of paper. And then let's get out a little bit of burnt umber, and we're just going to add a thin little border line of burnt umber around this outside edge of this heart. So get out your nice little tiny liner. This is a 2-aught. Thin yourself down some burnt umber. Liner consistency, you know, that's 80% water, 20% paint about. And just, it doesn't have to be a perfect line, thank goodness. You're just going to go all the way around the edge of that heart. Don't make it too far from the edge, because then the smaller heart, when you glue it on, will cover it up. I speak from experience, okay? All right. I think you could have fun making a bunch of these for your friends, family, just not the people that you want to pinch on St. Patrick's Day. All right. Almost there. And almost done with this guy. So this is all we do to this back heart. It's ready to go. So I'm going to set it aside. And now we have this guy. And so what I want to do on this guy is I'm going to float some very well blended out burnt umber around the outside edges and around the shamrock, the leaves, and under the stem. So just like you did with that evergreen, you want to blend this out so it's a nice soft float. And it's just going to go, look at how soft. Okay, it's barely leaving any brown on there. Okay, and if you have a mop brush, this is a good place to mop that float out and soften it even more. I guess I could be on camera. That's the hazard of being up close. You get off camera really quick. So all the way around the edge, and because I'm mopping it, I'm not real careful about how I float, because I'm going to mop it and blend it out a little more. Okay, so I've already kind of aged and toned down that heart a little bit already. So what I want to do is I want to pop a little bit of this under the stem. Again, I'm going to mop and soften, and I'm going to go around the leaves. So basically your little heart ends up getting a fairly good amount of burnt umber on it. And let's go around our shamrock a little bit, or a lot, whatever you want. Soften and blend out that a little bit more. Let's get our other little leaf. It's easier to do this before you paint things in, because you don't have to be careful then. If you get on the shamrock, it's okay, because you're going to paint over it. Right. And let's do around this leaf. So it doesn't have to be neat and tidy. All right. It's actually looking pretty good already. I'm going to go ahead and dry that real quick. And then what I want to do is, here is where I'm going to take my Punchinello, my stencil brush, and some warm white. And I'm going to stencil some random clusters of dots. You haven't heard me say that before, have you? Of warm white around the background, around the shamrock. And here again, if you get on the shamrock, it's okay, because we're going to paint it. So I didn't just stencil dots all lined up like little soldiers. I kind of moved it around. And if they don't show up enough, but I think that does, you can always stencil them again. But I try to get in little nooks and crannies here, just to break up that background a little bit. And that didn't get dark enough to suit me, or light enough, or whatever. So I'm gonna kind of do it again. There, that's better. So the whole thing doesn't get covered in it. You just want to have some spots here and there, just to break that background up. And I think I want a little bit more here and here. Oh, great. I think that's good. So I can wash my stencil brush out. We're going to paint our shamrock. I'm going to call them petals. They're probably leaves. But I'm going to paint them with a coat, or maybe two, of evergreen. This is a round brush. They're just little hearts. You know, if you wanted to take this a step further, you could always buy little hearts and and make it a little more dimensional even. But I wanted to keep this easy, affordable project for you, since I'm not going to be here to paint it with you in person. I do apologize, but I'm going to be out having fun, I hope. I guess only time will tell, right? Yeah, it's going to be 2 coats. Alrighty. So quick and easy. It should be probably one of the shortest projects I would ever record. But I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me, and I will be back in the flesh in April. Alright, so I'm going to let those dry, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the leaves with Irish moss, as it should be. And this is going to take 2 coats also. And now you can see why I lightened up that pattern a little bit. This went through puberty. Oh my goodness. There's a couple in my trash right now because I was trying to do too much. And I finally got it through my head. Keep it simple. It'll be cute. Just keep it simple. We all deserve a quick and easy project sometimes. All right. So let's give those shamrock petals another coat. Okay. Oh, that's going to do. Even if it's not even or completely opaque, it'll be just fine. We do some dry brushing, some highlighting, and some shading on these guys. You didn't think you were going to get off that easy, that you wouldn't have to do all that stuff. I hope. Okay. Almost there. And then I'll give my leaves another coat of Irish moss. Just to brighten them up a little bit. All right. I think that's going to do it. Right, it looks cute already. Even cuter on here. So let's see, let's dry that so we can start working on the shading and the highlighting and all that. Alright, so you want to get out the brush that you like to dry brush with, Mine, of course, is that Langnickel Short Round Sable brush. And I'm going to dry brush some highlighting on the shamrock petals with Irish Moss. Okay. So I just want to, it's going to show up, but it's not going to show up as bright as it is in the picture just yet. So it's basically just scrubbing some Irish Moss into those hearts shapes. And then what I want to do is I want to pick up a little bit of that bleach sand in my dirty brush. My brush still has that green in it. And I'm going to make a lighter value of Irish Moss. And I'm going to dry brush just a little bit brighter highlight in just the top humps of each of those petals. Okay, so that's starting to give them a little bit more dimension. And then I'm not going to wash out my brush again. I'm just going to pick up some more bleach sand. And I'm going to dry brush some highlighting on these leaves. And it can just go all over. It'll be just fine. I just want to give them a little dimension too. Okay? So now you can wash out your dry brush. Dry it, because I don't think we use it again, but who knows? You never know with me. So what I want to do is I want to float highlighting in the humps of the shamrock petals with Irish Moss plus bleach sand. That same mix that we used to dry brush. Again, blend it out. You don't want it to be a stark line. But I'm just going to go in the humps, okay? So I feel like I'm singing a rap song. In the humps, in the humps. So each hump of the shamrock is going to get this little highlight. And again, just like we did before, I'm going to pick up more bleach sand so I can float a highlight across the top of those leaves. I've got a brush hair there. All right, there we go. So while we let that dry, we can go ahead and get out our liner brush again. And we're going to line the stem with some thin down, not too thin, evergreen. And what I like to do is I'm going to do it kind of like it has the head of a comma stroke. I'm going to set down a little bit wider kind of comma here. And then as I go through the stem, it's a little thinner. And I'm not gonna highlight it. I'm not gonna shade it. That's it. You get a line of evergreen for this stem. So we need to get out a color that we haven't used yet, and that's gonna be soft black. And what we want to do is we want to float shading on these shamrock petals right at the base, in the point of each of the hearts that form the petals. And that's going to be done with soft black. And that just kind of, it just kind of tucks them together there. I think it makes them look a whole lot better. So just tuck some of this soft black into the little points at the base of each petal. All right. We're going to float some shading in the bottom of each leaf with evergreen. I'm going to start here at the pointy part and work my way around. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Yep. That works for me. I was just trying to figure out how I was going to start at the pointy part, but I guess I'm not. I'm going to start at the wide side. Whatever works. However you want to get this float in here. So just a float of evergreen in the bottom, or on the bottom edge of each leaf. The shamrock petals have a little center vein line, and I'm going to line that with a mix of Irish moss and bleached sand. So just brush mix a quick little puddle of Irish moss and bleached sand with your liner brush. And again, these, I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of like little comet strokes. So we're going to line those center vein lines, and then we're also going to put a little touch of a highlight on the tops of the petals. So I'm going to deep breathe and hope I can get this right. So it's just like a little comma stroke. Worked. Woo. 1 down, 2 to go. And you notice I didn't do them straight up and down. They have a little bit of a curve to them, right? And that's just a way to add a little bit more interest to these guys. All right, and then I just want to add just a touch of a highlight, like in one side of each of those leaves, okay? So I didn't do both sides. If you want to do both sides, you can. It'll be perfectly fine. And now the leaves, I want to line the center vein line with evergreen. And again, I'm going to do like a little comma stroke kind of thing. And I'm going to not really connect them to the stem, but kind of pull the point out just a little bit further. If you want to connect them, that's fine. Be fine with me. And that could have been a little nicer, but it'll be okay. Anybody complains about that, I'll pinch them. All right, it's looking pretty good. And your best leaf is going to be the one that goes under the lettering, of course. So then what you want to do next is you want to line stitching around the outside edge of this smaller heart with burnt umber also. We did a border line on the large heart. We're going to do stitching. If you want to just do a line, that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, okay? But I'm just going to do some little stitches because I wanted it to be just a little different. That's me, just a little different. And if you have a brown pen, you could do the stitches with a brown pen. It'd be just fine. I'm not going to be there, so I can't force you to use your liner brush. In fact, if I had a nice brown pen, I would probably do it with a pen. Try to keep them even, about the same size if you can. as I say that and make littler ones. So basically, whatever I tell you is just a suggestion. It's not a hard and fast rule. All right. Oh, I'm getting there. Okay, so this needs to dry, and what we're going to do next is we are going to get our printout of our lettering, okay? And so what I want you to do is cut these words out into rectangles, okay? Don't cut around the letters or anything like that. Just do a rectangle around them. And each word is its own rectangle, okay? But I cut them out like this, and then I cut them apart. You are almost done with this thing. Can you believe it? Told you it was going to be quick and easy. All right, so I want to dry this just to make sure. But try not to blow your lettering away. I almost did. I also pride myself in showing you things not to do. All right, so now I'm going to take my lettering. I'm sure you've seen me do this before. And I'm going to put it on here and kind of see how I want it. And I think pinch needs to be a little straighter. I don't care if they're kind of crooked. It's okay with me. But I'm going to get out my decoupage medium again. And so I have this where I want it to be. So I'm going to lick my index finger on my left hand. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, you do it on your right hand. And I'm going to lick it and pick up the word. And then I'm going to just put down a little bit of decoupage. And then get a layer of decoupage on top of it. Pick up the other one and put it down. Give it a quick little coat of decoupage medium. And voila, we're almost done. Now you could leave it nice and white like this. I always like to tone it down a little bit. So I'm drying that decoupage really quick. And I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to make a really, really, really thin wash of burnt umber. And I'm going to wash over this just to tone it down, so it's not just blaring in your face, although you may want it to blare. Okay, if it goes off the paper, that's okay. That makes it look like it's shadowed under there. And then here again, you can do this with a pen if you have it, but I'm going to use my liner brush, and I'm just going to add a little lines. I'm going to enclose that rectangle with my liner brush and thinned soft black. I could have used burnt umber, but I wanted it to be, I wanted to pull a little bit darker brown in there. So I don't know why, it's just because I can. So I'm just going to outline the rectangle. Now I'm going past the edge of the rectangle. And all this is doing is just kind of making that stand out a little bit more. Kind of finishing it off. Obviously it doesn't have to be straight. So there, my favorite leaf is covered up. But it's okay. All right. Let me dry that real quick. And what I can do now is I can get out my glue. Now decoupage is basically glue. You could decoupage this heart onto the large heart. But I'm going to use this Aleene's Tacky Glue. It dries really fast. And I'm going to put this on my large heart. Glue it into place. Now, more than likely, what you'll want to do is varnish this, and the hearts kind of want to stick up. So I take some clamps and clamp them until they're dry. And then I would varnish it. So I don't want that glue to dry without it being stuck to the heart, okay? So then what I did is I took one of these jewels, one of the larger ones, and I put it right at the base of where all the shamrock leaves meet, or petals meet. And then all that you have left to do is to put a pin back on it. You can put a pin back, you can put a magnet, whatever you want. But glue yourself a pin back on that thing. And then along comes March 17th, and you've got a pin that makes you pinch proof. So again, I apologize that this was a video only presentation, but I didn't think I'd be able to zoom from a cruise ship. So I will see you again next month. And I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I'm sure it'll be fun. It probably might even be something Halloween-y. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great month of March, and I will see you when I get back.